Alright, this is a review and comparison of the Hobie Outback and Hobie Pro Angler. But I'm going to weigh out the pros and cons of each yak, and hopefully this helps you make a decision on which one you want to go with. So the first thing we're going to talk about is weight. In this category, you got the Outback that is lighter than the PA at 99 pounds. The downside is that's still not a light kayak, but it is lighter than the Pro Angler. Pro Angler is much heavier at 130 for the 12 and 150 for the 14, so it's a really heavy kayak. And with that considered, if weight's a big issue, I would consider the Outback the winner of this category. So the next category is length and width, and we have the Outback at 12 feet 1 inch and 33 inches wide. It's a little bit narrower than the Pro Angler, and it's 1 inch longer than the 12. It's faster, it cuts through the water better because it's narrower, because it's got a different shape, but it's still just as big, basically. I mean, after I think 80 or 90 pounds, you're not really feeling that much of a difference. Now anything lighter than that you're gonna feel like it's a big difference, but when it's only 30 pounds heavier, it doesn't feel like it's that much of a difference. It is the same length and almost the same width, but there is not as much space as the Pro Angler, which is 12 feet long, 36 inches wide for the 12, and 13 and a half feet long, I think, with 38 inches wide for the 14. That makes it really stable compared to the Outback. I mean, the Outback is a stable boat, but the Pro Angler is it's unreal. And with the design, it also makes the Pro Angler much more open, and you have a lot of open space within the cockpit where you sit, where you have plenty of room to throw lures and your hog trough, and you got horizontal, rod storage, everything. So that's really cool. The only downside to being the Pro Angler in that one is that it may be overkill for you. You may not need that much storage, or you may not, that space may be wasted if you're not going to use it. So that you might be more comfortable with an Outback. But in this category, I'm going to have to say the Pro Angler takes it. The Outback with a cart or a Boondocks landing gear would be all you pretty much would need to get it from anywhere you want to the water. If you don't have a cart or anything like that, if you're just dragging it, it is really heavy. But if you hook a cart or Boondocks landing gear, you'll have all you need for it. It is still heavier than a lot of the other kayaks, like a Compass or a Revo, so it's not a light kayak, but I feel like a cart would be all you need. Now to the Pro Angler, you can get by with the Boondocks landing gear. I did for a long time. I wouldn't recommend the scupper cart though. You don't want to be flipping that thing over. I'd recommend the Boondocks landing gear for any bigger kayak. I'd say over 80-90 pounds. So for both of these, I'm going to say Boondocks landing gear for sure. It's a little more expensive, but it's a lot easier, and you don't have to empty or flip over your kayak to let the wheels down. But most people eventually go for the trailer with the Pro Angler, like I did. I converted a jet ski trailer. It just makes things a lot easier. The Boondocks landing gear is still nice, because even though I'm trailering it, if I get to a boat ramp or there is no boat ramp, and that's the only way, I can't just put it in like I would a boat, then yeah, I would still pull it off the trailer, flip the Boondocks landing gear down, and then pull it. So it's not too bad. But in this category, I'm gonna have to go with the Outback with loading and transport, because it's just a little bit lighter, a little bit narrower. It's a lot easier to deal with. You don't need a trailer. It makes things a lot easier, put it that way. But the Outback is gonna win this category. So the first thing we're going to talk about is stability. The Outback is a very stable boat. I didn't feel like I was going to flip. However, it's not as stable as the PA. Obviously, it's not as wide of a boat. It has a different hull design. I didn't feel like I could stand up and sit down easily. I'm a bigger guy. I know smaller guys do it all the time and say it's just fine, but As a bigger guy who is 6 foot, around 225, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I felt comfortable sitting down and fishing the entire time. Just standing up and moving around, I wasn't very comfortable. Now to the Pro Angler, it is extremely stable, and I was able to stand, move around, turn around, do everything I needed to do without a problem. So if you're a bigger guy, I would say go with that. And again, it may be overkill. That's the con. You may not need all that. It may be stable enough for you in the Outback. And if that's the case, then you might want to go with the Outback. But I'm going to say the Pro Angler wins this category. This category is speed and hull design. The Outback is definitely faster. It's the sleeker of the two because it has a different hull design. It's got a more V-shaped hull. It makes it cut through water much better. And if you're saltwater fishing, I would say this probably will be best for you because you can cut through those waves. Although the same hull design makes it faster, it also helps it cut through water, but it makes it less stable and easier to flip than something like a tri-hull like that's on the Pro Angler. That hull design is fast enough with almost no worries of flipping. It's also going to be slower and it's not going to cut through water as good as the Outback. So I'm going to say, depending on your needs, if you're freshwater fishing, or you're basically using this as a bass boat, stuff like that, ponds and lakes, and I think the Pro Angler is the way to go. And if you're in the saltwater, you're cutting through waves, you need something that's fast or faster, then I'm going to say you need the Outback. So I'm going to call this one a draw depending on where you live and what you're going to do with it. Next is accessibility. Due to the stability of the Outback, you can reach around pretty well, or you won't be as stable as you are on the Pro Angler, and some of the storage spaces may be a pain to get to. On the Pro Angler though, it's extremely stable, so you can get up, turn around, reach everywhere on this kayak and utilize every inch of storage that you have. Even if you stand up and turn around, you're still going to be comfortable. You can reach all the way in the back. So as far as accessibility goes, I think this one's pretty quick. You can access more storage more easily with the Pro Angler versus the Outback. So this category I'm going to have to give to the Pro Angler. This category is the seat. So we're going to be talking about the Vantage CT and the Vantage ST. The Vantage CT seat is very comfortable, customizable. It's got a lot of adjustments up and down. It's got a high position, a low position. So you can adjust it to where you want to sit at. It reclines, it has lumbar support. You can also take it off the yak, and it has like feet that you can fold out on the bottom and use it as like a beach chair. So it is a great seat. Now, it's not as comfortable as the Pro Angler seat, although it is really comfortable and probably second to only the Pro Angler seat. It doesn't really sit up as high as the Pro Angler seat, and it can be hard to snap into the kayak, which I'm sure if you're researching this, you've seen other people say that. I have a hard time getting it to click in when I'm putting the chair back onto the kayak. Now the Vantage ST seat is the best seat on the market, hands down. I mean, I have sat in it all day. It makes being on the water all day very easy because you can stand up easy and you have this really comfortable chair. Has full reclining, has a high and low position. It doesn't have as many high-low positions. I think the Outback has 3 or 4, like where you can click in. This one only has a high and a low. That's it. It does have lumbar support. It's got easy adjustments. The seat actually has arms, so you can rest your arms on. And those are where reclining settings are. They're tied to a rope that you twist. It brings the seat up and down, and it brings us back, forward and back. So it's the most intuitive seat. It's easiest to adjust. It has directions printed on the arm of the chair. It's also super fast and easy to take in and out. You don't have that same problem where you do with all the Vantage CT seats, having trouble clicking them in. You literally just undo one little lat, fold the seat up, and it pops right out. And it's super easy to put back in. Literally 5 seconds you can take it in and out and not have to worry about it. And you can also use this as a beach chair as well. So in this category, I think the clear winner is the Pro Angler. However, the CT seat is only second to the Pro Angler seat. I'm still going to have to go with the Pro Angler on this. Now let's talk about Mirage Drive performance. Both of these are going to come with the Mirage Drive 180 that has reverse. The reverse is very convenient. You're not going to go wrong either way because you're getting the 180. But the Outback comes with standard fins unless you get the camo edition. Then it comes with the turbo fins. It didn't stop me from going fast in the Outback. I don't think you need the turbos because I put these STs in the Pro Angler, and I was still able to get up to what I almost normally get up to. I was getting around 4 miles per hour. I usually can get up to 5 if I'm really pushing it. The only thing I noticed was that I didn't get there as quick. Pedaling was a lot easier because you're not fighting as much water with the smaller fins. You can go shallower with the smaller fins, and the top speed is going to be about the same, and you're not going to have to work as hard to maintain it because the pedaling's easier. But it's not going to be as fast, and it's not going to be as quick. If you're looking for a workout, it's not going to be as good of a workout either. But either way, you can go either way with them. You can change that. That's not something to knock either boat for. It's just the downside that it doesn't come with the turbo, and that might be an advantage for some people. So I'm gonna say it's a draw depending on your preference. Would you like to pedal something that's easier to pedal and you're not really in a hurry, or would you like to fight more water with the turbo drive and get out of there a lot quicker and move a lot faster? The only downside is that if you're in shallower water, they're longer fins, so you can definitely bang them. So I'm gonna call this a draw depending on your preference. So we're gonna talk about paddling both of these boats. The Outback is so much easier to paddle than the PA. That just goes without saying. It's pretty much a no-brainer. The way it's shaped, it's narrower, it's lighter. It's gonna be much easier to paddle. Now, it is still not an easy boat to paddle. It's not a paddling boat, it's not meant to. But it's a lot easier in a pinch to paddle this boat. It does come with the Hobie paddle, which I found to be too small for most people. I'm 6 foot, but I upgraded to, I think, a 260 centimeter paddle from Bending Branches, and it makes a world of difference. It makes paddling either of these boats better than it is with the 230 centimeter Hobie paddle. Paddling with the Pro Angler. Paddling in short stretches in shallow water, go backwards if you don't have the 180 drive. It's not too bad. It's not a big deal. You can do it. You definitely don't want to have to paddle this kayak very long. It can be a real pain. It doesn't track well, and it doesn't track as well as the Outback either. Also, I'd have to definitely upgrade to a longer paddle to use comfortably, because this kayak is 3 feet wide or 38 inches wide depending on which model, and you don't want to be fighting that. And especially if you're sitting in the high position and 6 foot or over, it's just get a longer paddle, because when your drive breaks, because it will happen, my 180 drive just broke, but I was on a big lake and I had to paddle and it sucked. So if paddling is a big thing to you, if you want to use this as a dual purpose kayak, the Outback is the clear winner. Like, if you want to go to rivers, or rocky rivers, shallow rivers where you're not going to take Mirage drive, you're just going to plug it and you want to paddle, get the Outback. Hands down, you do not want to paddle the Pro Angler. So the Outback is going to win this category. This category is rudder performance. The Outback comes with a standard rudder, again, with the exception of the camo edition that comes with the sailing rudder. It works perfectly fine. You only get one steering handle, but you can upgrade to the sailing rudder fairly easily, fairly cheaply. I think it's like 35, 40 bucks. It's not really necessary, but it does help out a whole lot when you have the sailing rudder. From what I've heard, I haven't tried it, but I've heard it makes a night and day difference. The downside is I think the Outback should come standard with the sailing rudder, and I'm not really a fan of the twist and stow rudder. I don't like that it pops up out of the water, and I'm just not a big fan of it. You might be, I'm not. It's just personal preference on that. The standard rudder on the Pro Angler works fine. I had it for a long time, and there's also a sailing rudder upgrade for the Pro Angler, which I did. Made a world of difference. Kind of like the same thing with the people saying that the sailing rudder made a difference in the Outback. It makes a huge difference. It's a lot bigger rudder. The Pro Angler comes with the dual steering handles. I'm a big fan of the Pro Angler style rudder that tucks away underneath the boat. It doesn't have to flip up, and sometimes you'll forget to unstrap the rudder that's on back, and then you have to kind of like stand up and fight and kind of unlatch it, and then you can dip your rudder down in the water. Whereas if on the Pro Angler, where it's tucked up under a way, you pull the rope and it pops right down. The downside is I think the PA should come with the sailing rudder as a standard. I don't get why they do not put a sailing rudder on these big giant Pro Angler boats. It should just be there. With that said, I'm still gonna go with, personal preference wise, the Pro Angler. I just like that design better. It tucks away. If you hit something, it just kind of folds up. So Pro Angler is going to win this category. All right, the next category is Fishability. This is like taking into account of rigging and all that kind of stuff. So with the Outback, you have 4 molded in rod holders. You have the Lowrance Ready system. You've got a front hatch. You've got a nice open back. You can put a crate in, you can put a cooler in, you've got pockets, you've got the middle hatch that you have between your legs that you can even upgrade to the square pro angler hatch. But I still feel that the Outback is better for people who bring less tackle. It has less storage than the PA, so it's not great for people who want to bring their entire bass boat worth of tackle. Now, that's where the Pro Angler shines, and it has molded in rod holders behind you, but it also has 4 on the 12 and 6 on the 14 horizontal rod locker storage that goes beside the seat to the front of the boat. It's fish finder ready, of course, all Hobies are. It's extremely stable, so you can fish standing up and set the hook and not have to worry about falling off or losing your balance. Has tons of storage with a huge front hatch, and even the 14 is even bigger than the 12. Huge storage in the back, and it's the same thing. The 14 has even more than the 12. You can bring all the tackle you really want. I have a like 15, 16 foot bass boat. It's a smaller bass boat, but I can actually fit everything I would bring on that bass boat into my Hobie PA 12 and have room to spare. So for some people who don't bring as much tackle, it may be overboard. You'll have a bunch of empty space that you're not going to use that you wouldn't need. So again, it depends on your needs, but for me, I'm going to say the Pro Angler wins this category as well, because I like to bring all my tackle, so that way if I figure something out and I need that bait, I have it. I didn't leave the house without it because I didn't think I needed it. Okay, this next category is space and storage. The Outback has a lot of storage space compared to a lot of kayaks on the market. Yes, it is a smaller kayak than the Pro Angler, so it doesn't have as much space as the Pro Angler, but it still has a lot of storage compared to other kayaks. For a lot of people, it's going to be just enough. However, if you're one of those people who want to bring a lot of stuff, kayak camping, stuff like that, this is where the Pro Angler is going to shine, because it's super stable, has a higher weight capacity, has more storage. I mean, you can fit everything within that big front hatch. You can put tents and stuff like that. You can carry giant coolers on the back of it. The PA is going to be everything you need in the 12 and especially in the 14 foot version. But with all that space, it does come with extra weight and more weight that you're going to put on it, because let's face it, when you have more space to put things, you're probably going to put things there even if you don't need them. You're kind of going to fill it up. That's a downside to having that much space, is it kind of turns your yak into a fairly heavy beast. I'm still going to have to give this to the Pro Angler just because it has so much storage and just space to work with in front of you when you're like tying on lures and you need a place to set something really easily. I'm gonna go with the Pro Angler. This category is customization. Being that it doesn't have as many bells and whistles as the Pro Angler, the Outback leaves a lot more room for customization because they don't give you as much. You can add the rectangular center hatch found on the PA. You can add A-trails that are found on the PA. You can upgrade to the rubber pocket. You can upgrade to the turbo fins. And it's a kayak, so anything else that you can possibly dream up or think up, you can pretty much do as long as you have the ability to do it. Some of the cons are it doesn't come with A-trails, which is not that big a deal because sometimes they can be in the way. I would like to at least see it come with gear tracks like the Compass and the new Pro Anglers come with, but it does open a lot of doors for customization. Not having those things factory opens up a lot of ways that you can customize the Outback for you and your setup. Now the pros for the Pro Angler is it comes with A-trails, and those things are sweet because you can customize them to as much or as little as you want. They have all kinds of accessories that clip on them. It does come with the square hatch, comes with the skeg, it comes with big storage. There's just a lot more bells and whistles that come with the Pro Angler. They're already done for you, so you don't get the fun of doing that kind of stuff yourself, and you don't get the options of what you want and what you don't want because it's already there. And that may be something you don't want, and that's part of the cons of so much coming with the Pro Angler is it may be too many bells and whistles. It may not be what you want. It may not be the setup you want. You may want something simpler. Customization, I'm gonna have to go with the Outback just because it's more plain Jane, leaves you more freedom to do with what you want and add what you want. It doesn't come with A-trails, but you can add them. Doesn't come with the square hatch, but you can add it. So it gives you a lot more freedom to do what you want with the yak. So the Outback, it wins. All right, this category is color options. I know most people don't talk about this as being one of the benefits of the Outback, but you get a lot more color options with the Outback than with the PA. You get the papaya, which is like that yellow orange kind of color. You get the dune, which is like the white, the sand speckled white kind of thing. You get red, you get seagrass, you get slate, which is a blue. The seagrass is kind of like a neon green, neon yellow. And then you get camo. You get 6 color options, and the camo is $200 added on. But you also get the other bells and whistles like turbo fins, sailing rudder, and rubber mesh pockets. The con with that is the camo does cost more, but I think you are getting your money's worth by getting the camo. The bad thing is that you can't get those options without getting the camo unless you're willing to do that stuff yourself and add it on to the price, which I think it's cheaper just to buy the camo than it is to buy everything outright. The Pro Angler comes in 3 colors, and that's the papaya, that yellow, the dune, and the camo. That's it. Like, you get 3 colors. There's no blue, no red, no seagrass, none of that. And the camo is extra, and you, as far as I know, you don't get anything with that. It's just more money because it's camo, which is kind of a downside, kind of like, why are you charging more just for a color? In this category, I'm gonna have to say the Outback wins. It comes in more colors, way more colors, and I actually like a lot of those colors, and I'm upset that they don't come as an option for the Pro Angler. But the Outback wins the color options category. This category is price. Now we have the Outback at $2,549. It's almost $1,000 cheaper than the Pro Angler, and I think it is $1,000 cheaper if you go with the 14. You also don't have as many bells and whistles, and I think the camo edition is like an extra $100 or $200 just for the color. But you are getting turbo fins, rubber pockets, and the sailing rudder with that. So it's justified. You're just not getting as many bells and whistles as the Pro Angler, but you may not need them, and you're going to pay a lot more for them anyway. The Pro Angler has a lot more accessories and conveniences, but it also starts at $3,400 and $3,550 for the 14. So at around $1,000 more, it may have more than you really need, and you may be wasting some money, or you could spend that money on fish finders and stuff like that, kind of setting your kayak up. So the winner of this category is going to be the Outback, because I think bang for your buck, you're going to get more out of the Outback. So it's time to decide which one is the winner and which one is the loser, which one's going to fit your life better, the Outback or the Pro Angler. But first, I want to give thanks to Great Outdoor Provisions for letting me borrow an Outback and test it out. So a huge thanks to them, and shout out to them for making this video possible, especially the one in Charlottesville, because they're the ones who helped me out. But if you have one in your area, definitely make sure to visit them. They have great customer service. But back to the conclusion. If you've been counting in your head, you know that I gave more categories to the Pro Angler. Now, if you've also been disputing what I've been saying one way or the other, whether you're defending the Pro Angler or the Outback, then I think you've made up your mind. I think you know which one you want to go with at that point. Because if you're defending it, that means that you're kind of partial to that, and that's the one that's probably right for you. Now, if you still haven't made your mind up yet, hopefully this video has helped you lean one way or another, and hopefully it's given you the information to make your decision. The best way to know if you're still undecided, if it just made the decision even tougher, what you need to do is you need to find somewhere like Great Outdoor Provisions or your local kayak shop and see if they can get you a demo of both. And you need to go out in the water and you need to feel what it's like to be on both. And next is, what is your budget? Because that is the biggest thing about buying a kayak. If you don't have the budget, then obviously you need to go with the one you have the budget for. Or even if you do have the money to buy a Pro Angler, maybe the Outback is a better fit for you. Anyways, I hope this helps. If it hasn't made your mind up yet, like I said, go demo both of them. They're both great boats. They're both worth every penny. You just need to pick one that is the right fit for you and your lifestyle and what you want to do with it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video series, and I hope it helped you pick out the boat that is right for you. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.